My parents chuckled, giving my sister $6.9 million. Me? They tossed me $1 and sneered. Can you imagine being handed a single dollar at your own parents while reading, while your sister, Isolde, got millions? That was just the beginning of their cruel joke. But that betrayal? That was nothing compared to the gut-wrenching truth I uncovered later. How they stole every last moment I could have had with my beloved grandpa, lying to us both, actively trying to erase me from his life. They thought they'd buried me for good. What they didn't know was his final letter would become the shovel that dug them up, exposing their cruelty to the entire town. It all started the day I pulled up to the family estate in Charleston. The sun hadn't quite burned off the morning haze, and the cicadas were already buzzing like a warning in the heat. Live oaks loomed, dripping moss over the gravel driveway. I parked right where I used to ride my bike in crooked circles as a kid, back when home still felt like something safe. I caught my reflection in the side mirror, a plain blouse, hair tied back. Nothing like the sleek dresses Isolde would have chosen. My hands actually trembled as I grabbed my purse, feeling the weight of every mile it took to get there. I paused, looking up at the white columned porch, the rocking chairs lined up like silent guards. I wasn't even sure why I came, not really. Maybe just to prove to myself I could stand there without shrinking. Inside, the air smelled of lemon polish and something else, something sharper that reminded me of holidays spent trying not to breathe too loudly. My mother, Vera, sat near the fireplace, ankles crossed, her expression unreadable except for a tight line around her mouth. My father, Conrad, held a glass of water like it was a lifeline, nodding at people he barely looked at. And Isolde, of course, was laughing near the window, a glass of champagne in her hand, sunlight catching the gold on her wrist. When she saw me, her eyes flicked over my outfit, a familiar smirk touched her lips, and then she turned back to her conversation. I found a chair in the corner, trying to hide how my legs bounced under the table. Marshall Keene, the family lawyer, cleared his throat, tapping a stack of papers to straighten them. "Thank you for coming today," he said, glancing around. Walter Garner left clear instructions that his will be read with all family members present. I folded my hands together, pressing down to stop them from shaking. I felt the eyes on me, that quiet judgment from a family who'd spent years reminding me I didn't quite fit. I'd even memorized the details of the invitation, my name misprinted as guest +1. When I called to correct it, the secretary just stammered, "I'm sure it was just an oversight." I laughed then, but it was the kind of laugh that left your ribs sore. Marshall started reading, his voice steady, listing donations to charities, small bequests to distant relatives. Then he paused, looked right at me, and cleared his throat. To Camila Garner, he read, $1. The silence hit first. Before the laughter, a split second where the world froze, and all I could hear was the blood pounding in my ears. Then Isolde's laugh broke it, sharp as glass. "Some kids just don't measure up," she said, swirling her champagne, eyes locked on mine. I stared at the single-dollar bill Marshall handed me, the paper already creased as my fingers curled around it. My mother's voice cut through dawn. "T missed the twist. Watch the full story. Link is attached below."